Resident Evil is a franchise that has existed since 1996, and I haven't played a single one of the games at all. Of course, this is partially because I wasn't born until roughly a decade after the first game came out. But still, regardless, as a kid, I never really understood the games. They never caught my attention. That was until I saw the trailer for Resident Evil Requiem, a game that comes out later this month. And well, as a completionist, I started thinking, what if I try to platinum and complete all of the Resident Evil games before this new installment to the franchise comes out? That's a great idea, right? I thought I was a genius. I thought I was Einstein. I thought I finally activated every single neuron in my brain with this idea. And here I am a month later, humbled, and only having completed one game. And that game is Resident Evil 2 Remake. I started with this game because Leon S. Kennedy is one of the main protagonists, and well, he is also going to be the main protagonist in the new game Requiem. So I thought if I was going to understand anything that is happening in this new game, I should probably get to know at least one of the characters that is going to be in that game. So I blew away my part-time paycheck and bought Resident Evil 2 Remake, downloaded it on my PlayStation 5, and started to play it. And this is how that went. The story of Resident Evil 2 follows two characters, Leon S. Kennedy, oh my god, and Claire Redfield. The game is split between both characters' stories and has a total of 4 separate stories. I just realized that probably sounds confusing as shit, so let me rephrase it so it makes more sense to you, somebody probably looking in on the outside. There is 2 A stories and 2 B stories. The A story follows a character entering the RPD, and the B story follows a character after meeting the other character that is inside the RPD outside the fire escape. You have to complete 1 A story and 1 B story for an achievement and hence the platinum. However, I assure you, you will wind up playing all 4 stories. I won't go too deep into the story because my goal is to have you play this game for yourselves after I give my review. So I'm going to make my explanation of the 2 character stories as simple as possible. The game starts with both characters meeting at a gas station and realizing the world has gone to shit. Eventually, they will split up because that's the classic trope in every single horror movie and game. It's honestly a different kind of addiction these writers have with this trope. Leon's story follows, well, Leon Kennedy, and if you couldn't guess that, I will assume you are watching this after failing your first grade quiz on Simple Addition. It is Leon's first day as a police officer for the Raccoon City Police Department, or RPD for short. And he for sure will have a kick-ass first day because the whole world has been affected with the G-Virus, which turns people into zombies that apparently have Wolverine's adamantium skeleton for a skeleton, because it takes several shots to the cranium to kill them. However, this is something that I will brush upon later. The goal of Leon's story is to explore the RPD and find a way out. It is revealed that I can find 3 hidden emblems around the RPD station and can put them into a big statue and open an entrance into the basement. I would have completed this task in 40 minutes if I wasn't an idiot who didn't pay attention in geography class and missed out on the glorious opportunity of knowing how to read a simple map. I had one area that I didn't check out. Knew I didn't check out and refused to check it out. This led to my dumbass circling around the RPD doing laps like a person training for the yearly marathon. After an hour and a half of walking aimlessly around and dying 5 times, I found the item I needed, got the last emblem, and made it out of the RPD's main room. How many achievements did I have until this point? 3. Oh no, I'm screwed. Eventually you meet a woman named Ada, who is completely trustworthy even though you don't know a single thing about her. The only thing you know is that she's apparently an FBI agent. I guess Leon has trust. I do not. After you meet her, you're put on another side quest of finding a parking permit to leave the RPD. And once you leave the RPD, you meet back up with Ada and are now tasked with finding the person behind the G-Virus. That's all I'll say, because if you want to know more about the game, you should probably play it yourself. Now I'm going to talk about Claire's story. Claire's story is a little different. Well, yeah, only a little. The beginning portion of the story is nearly exactly the same, but the reason for Claire being in the city is to look for her brother Chris Redfield, who's apparently a member of like some type of Spec Ops Corps that I don't really know the lore behind, but I would assume if anyone would survive the zombie apocalypse, it would probably be him. So why is Claire looking for him? I guess she's just a good sister. I probably wouldn't have. I would have been gone. But Claire soon realizes that Chris Redfield has gone on vacation. I guess it's the best time for the Bahamas, to be fair, because everyone is dead. Claire leaves the RPD, as Leon does in his story, but instead of finding Ada in the basement, she finds a little girl named Sherry. Claire swears to protect Sherry and help her find her family. Eventually, Sherry gets kidnapped by Chief Irons, who is the chief of the police department, and he is a weirdo. He most certainly pours the milk before the cereal. He most certainly thinks a straw only has one hole. And he most certainly listens to techno music by himself in the corner of his bedroom while watching Friends. And he most certainly, I think you fucking get it. The rest of Claire's story revolves around her saving Sherry and bringing her back to her family. The story ends with Leon and Claire reconvening, and that's all I'll say because there is more, but I want you to play this game. After completing both stories, I had 15 trophies. 8 from the story itself and the others from doing things that everyone probably also did. If you somehow did not craft a herb in your whole time of playing an RE game, I think you need to switch games because how? Now, I realized that I needed to clean up a lot of trophies, and I mean a lot. Because this game has 42 trophies you need for the platinum, and I only had 15 like I just said. So that was roughly 30 more trophies that I needed to get the platinum. So I needed to clean up. I started with the S rank runs, which require you to speed through the game. On my first run with Claire, I got around 3.5 hours, so I believed I could do this. Oh hell nah, I say to that, because it took 5 separate runs before getting the start of a good one, and that was because of Tyrant. Oh shit, I forgot to talk about Tyrant. He's basically a big buff gray dude with a top hat that chases you around the map wanting one goal, to curb stomp you into the ground and take all your herbs for himself. Because those things are addictive. I'm joking. Anyway, the difficulty of Tyrant chasing me and the difficulty of managing resources made this speedrun hard. I eventually got through Claire's B story with a time of around 2 hours and 45 minutes. This was on standard mode, by the way, because I'm not a psychopath who does S hardcore runs. Mainly because I like challenging myself, but not like that. I have other games I want to play by the end of the year. I then did Leon's S rank run, which only took 1 try. I then decided to go for 3 extra run-related trophies that weren't related to hardcore. Frugalist, Minimalist, and a small carbon footprint. Frugalist was to play the game without healing, Minimalist was to play the game without using the item box, and a small carbon footprint was to speedrun the game even faster than before and complete the game with only 14,000 steps. So, how did this run go? I accidentally used a heal in the first 20 minutes of the run and somehow forgot 3 separate times to get a key that I backtracked to get 3 separate times. I got Minimalist though. I then ran through the game to get all the collectibles I was missing, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't miss something, right? Guess what? I missed something again. Treasure Hunter. This achievement requires you to find 2 hidden items using the film roll. I forgot to do this on every single run because it required me to backtrack, and during my speedruns, that was the last thing I was thinking of doing. So I thought I was going to get it during my hardcore run. 6 hours. Wait, what? 6 hours? 6 hours? Oh yeah, 6 hours of me trying to run hardcore and soft-locking myself. You can soft-lock yourself by not picking up weapons, ammos, heals, or doing what I did, using them all on the carbon fiber-infused zombies. This gets into what I hate about the game the most. The zombies. These zombies are cracked out potato sacks that absorb more gunshots than I do screen time, which according to my phone has gone down from 8 hours to 7 hours and 56 minutes. I think that's a win. If I even hear a whisper that resembles, "Why didn't you dodge them?" I will phase through my screen, grab you by the collar of your shirt, and drag you into the game of Resident Evil 2 and ask you to dodge. And you won't, because you can't. A game about learning to traverse a small knit area, gathering and resourcing items, not having a dodge mechanic is kind of a pain in the ass. Because basically, they expect you to know how to play Dead by Daylight in order to dodge these enemies and not get hit. Because that's exactly what Capcom expects you to do. They expect you to dodge enemies by circling around them and squeezing between them like you're the width of a piece of paper. And guess what? You are not the width of a piece of a paper, and you wind up getting bit. If you do get hit, there are counterattack measures such as combat knives and grenades, but those are limited. And if you don't have any, you will get hit. Or you will get one-shotted dependent on the enemy. And to say I kept dying in hardcore because of this alone was driving me crazy, I mean, it was driving me crazy. The fact I knew where everything was, could hit my shots, and knew how to manage my resources, but was still forced to restart runs because either a zombie would long arm me like Mr. Fantastic or take more shots than a person during frat orientation was annoying. So, I started talking to my ego. After contemplating with my ego, I spent 99 cents, brought the infinite rocket launcher, and breezed through my first hardcore run. Call me a cheater, but I play games to have fun. And I do love a challenge. I play games on the hardest difficulty all of the time, but when I lose to something because something that is hardly my fault, I get annoyed because I know how to play the game. And it isn't my fault that these people can't just push zombies off of them. Like, I get it. The virus makes them tougher to kill, but it for sure doesn't make them heavier. I would toss a zombie across the room if it meant life or death. But, I don't know. Anyway, after getting my ego shot in the head and did my one hardcore run I was just mentioning, I went back and did Frugalist and a small carbon footprint in one run. After this, I had everything except for two things. My last hardcore run and something that brought the devil out of me. Daredevil would be proud. Grim Reaper is a trophy that you get by beating the 4th Survivor game mode, which follows a soldier named Hunk in what I assume is either right before or right after the game takes place. This was harder than my original hardcore runs without the infinite RPG. Those I could chalk up to luck or the game's design. Me struggling in this, it was a complete lack of skill. See, the game gives you a full inventory of equipment with the goal of making it from the sewers to the front entrance of the RPD. And that means this is all resource management. You get 4 heals, 3 with green herbs and 2 with only red and blue herbs. Green herbs heal health, blue poison, and red amplify to both. You get 4 weapons, a pistol with 1 clip, a deagle with roughly 2 mags, a shotgun with roughly 2 mags, and an SMG with roughly 3 to 4 mags. You also get 1 knife, 3 flashes, and 3 grenades with gunpowder to make more ammo. This mode requires you to perfectly use your items and get from point A to point B, and I like this challenge as it's just like the rest of the game. It has puzzles, and it itself is a puzzle. Use this here and that here. However, there was still the fact that I couldn't dodge anything to save my life, and many of my runs died within the last seconds of the mission. After hours of rigorously dying in the last section and raging, I mean, it sounded something like and me yelling some profanity, I won and got the achievement. I then went to sleep, woke up the next day, and did my final hardcore run. And with that, I got the platinum, baby. Apparently to PlayStation, that was only 40 hours, but to me, it felt like a whole entire 3 months. Resident Evil 2 is a game I will not forget because it's the game that killed the gamer in me. Jokes aside, this game is amazing. Both characters' stories are amazing and meld well together, minus that one odd continuity error with Tyrant, but overall, the stories go well together, and it is believable that the A and B stories happen at the same time. The story itself, like I said, is fantastic. It's moving. It's amazing. The gameplay loop is addictive, and even when I botched the run, I felt accomplished because I got a little further, or I remembered something I hadn't before, or I found a better route that saved time and resources. This game makes you feel good for every little accomplishment, and even though there are issues, the fact that zombies can't die and can't be dodged, the game is nearly perfect. Lazy Me says a 9.6 out of 10, because too little water. Joking, this is not IGN. Still, a 9 out of 6 though. That is, according to my lazy ass. Well, like I was saying, I think this game is amazing, and I will recommend it to anybody to play. I would say, though, that if you're not that good at survival horrors or have horrible memory skills or horrible organization skills, this might be a bit of a difficult platinum for you. And thinking of that and thinking of my own experience of buying an infinite RPG, I would say the game is around a 6 out of 10 difficulty. And probably would have took me a little longer if I pushed through into the hardcore runs legitimately. However, minus that, I feel like the RPG doesn't really take anything from the game's experience because overall the game is about resource management, remembering where the items are, on top of being able to kill enemies and being able to dodge enemies that sometimes just can't be dodged and get you with complete bullshit. But minus that, the game is completely perfect. The story, like I said, is perfect, and the gameplay itself, minus the dodging, is completely perfect. Well, that's all I really have to say. So, this is me, Lazy, signing out. breaking character for a moment. If you would like to see me talk about the story and the achievements in more detail, leave a comment. This is my first video, so I'm trying to make it as light as possible. But for future videos, if you would like them to be longer, more detailed, leave a comment down below. I just don't like talking about the story because my goal with these reviews is to get people to either play or not play the games I play, depending on how I feel the game is, if it's good, bad, or mid. But if you want to see more of the story in these videos and want to see more of the achievements in these videos, leave a comment down below. I usually talk about the hardest achievements I had the hardest with, and the general achievements that are related to the story, and not really the collectibles, because those achievements are kind of like nothing to me. Everybody will get those if they go looking for them. But if you would like me to go over every achievement or just more achievements in more detail, let me know that. But than that, again, Lazy signing out.